then I got addicted to roxycodone, and those were 30 milligrams, and that was it. It was off to the races. And I just let everything go. I didn't care about anything. I fell into a deep funk. I didn't care about my health. Stopped going to the gym. Stopped caring about it, life itself. It just one little pill just had that much control over my entire universe.
It's the Health in the Real World podcast. It's time to start the show with Chris Janke as your host. Here to give you everything that you need when it comes to fitness strategies. We keep it simple and easy. It's your roadmap to get healthy. You don't need equipment and you don't need a gym. Just the right strategies to get you fit and trim.
Health in the Real World podcast. I'm here with Daniel James today. Daniel and I spoke at length last week and just had a great conversation. I wanted to get him on the show today. Daniel, thanks for joining me today. Really appreciate you coming out.
Thank you so much, Chris. It's a pleasure.
So on this show, as I was telling you, we talk about health, right? Health in the real world. And, when a lot of people, including myself, think of health, we think of, eating right and exercising and things. And I know you've had stories where you've lost weight. But I think what we agreed on is we're going to talk about your story with addiction, because there are a lot of people struggling with addiction. And, it's like digging yourself out of this hole, which definitely falls under the umbrella of health. So can you first give us just like a quick introduction as far as what you're doing now? And then we can rewind and go into your story and how you got here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So where I am at right now is, I put a lot of weight on because of COVID, and the past year and a half was very tough. So what motivated me actually was one day I was listening to David Goggins' motivational YouTube clip, and it just was raw. It really, I mean, I just wanted to jump out off the couch, stop being who I was, and literally just race out the door. I mean, that's how motivated he got me, and it really did get me moving in the right direction. And it was at that point where I was like, all right, you know what? I got to get on a routine. I really got to do this. I got to get back to the way I used to be prior to my addiction. And I was always a gym rat. I was always in the gym, 7 days a week, always in great shape. And then when I hit my addiction, I just didn't care anymore. But I'm on a really good road right now. I have a long way to go, but it's one day at a time. I'm not putting a lot of pressure on me, but I am pushing myself to be to bring out the best version of myself. And I know you wanted to kind of go backwards a little bit, but I mean, as of right now, I lost about 15 pounds, and I'm not stopping until I get under 200. I got a little
Nice.
ways to go, but hey, I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, it's one
Mhm.
step at a time. And I want to highlight some of your past. You were a police officer for 22 years,
Yes.
definitely high stress job.
Hmm.
Uh, what, so again, like I know, I hope we can even touch one person with this interview, but how did you get into drugs in the first place? Like what was going on in your life? There had to be something that you perceived those drugs to fill. Like what was going on in your life at that time?
Yeah, I'll tell you. Being a police officer, it was an amazing career. However, there was a lot of dark times for me. There was a lot of things that I've seen. I don't want to bring the audience down, but you can imagine what police officers see. It affected me tremendously,
Yeah.
to the point where, um, I had no, I felt like the only option that I had was to drink, and I did a lot of it. Um, I got hurt at work eventually. I was jumped by a Hispanic gang group, a group of guys, and it was me and a couple other officers. Um, yeah, it was pretty intense, put it that way. And so then what happened was I went to the doctors. Of course, I got prescribed pain medicine, and I would say after being out for a year from work, I just did not want to go back. I didn't feel like dealing with it, and I put in for what would be called a disability pension.
Mhm.
I put all my eggs in a basket. I was ready to go, and mentally put everything in the basket. My health and everything. So I what happened was then I went and when I put in for the pension disability, next thing you know, I got denied. After I got denied, that was it. Shortly after that, I got introduced to, after the doctors gave me for months Percocets, which I got addicted very quickly.
Mhm.
Then I got addicted to roxycodone, and those were 30 milligrams, and that was it. It was off to the races. And I just let everything go. I didn't care about anything. Um, I fell into a deep funk. I didn't care about my health. Stopped going to the gym. Stopped caring about it, life itself. And it just one little pill just had that much control over my entire universe
Right.
and everybody that's surrounding. And it
Stopped
was
stopped
Mhm.
working out, stopped taking care of yourself. Probably life started to sort of center around that pill. How do I
Yeah,
get more of it? Where's the doctor? Let me get some more.
yeah, yeah,
How long did
100%.
how long did that go on for?
I was on a good run for God, 4 or 5 years.
Wow.
Like I said, I count 2012, and then I finally in I went to treatment a couple times, but I did it more or less to shut people up, my family, my friends. I didn't really want to go. I was
Okay.
in love with this thing. That
That
was
that was
about,
gonna be my next question because sometimes we need that intervention, whether we're doing drugs, drinking, or even not. Maybe we're just making poor decisions. Um, that was gonna be my next question is like, how do you get to that next step?
yeah.
So you said that your family kind of pushed you and you did it to shut them up.
Hmm.
So I want to rephrase the question I was going to ask then a little bit. So at first, when you're going to treatment, it's not your choice. You did it to appease
Yeah.
somebody else.
Yeah.
When did that shift? And because obviously now it's your choice. You are choosing to be clean, sober. When did that shift? When did you decide, you know what, I'm doing this for me? And what kind of facilitated you in that shift? What was that thought process?
Yeah. It's a great question. Uh, July 9th, I ended up getting arrested. And I remember when I got back uh,
This
from
was,
being,
sorry, 20,
I'm sorry.
2017, right?
Yes, it
17?
was 2017. I apologize. Yeah, July
Okay,
9th,
no worries.
2017.
Okay, so about
Um,
4 years. Got it.
yeah, yep. I ended up getting arrested, and I remember when I went back to um, to back when I went back home after the whole thing, I was in the bathroom and I just got done because I didn't have anything to drink for a couple hours, so I started going through withdrawals. And I went and I guzzled like a whole bunch of Jameson, and instantly, like, came back. And I was like so sick. And I just remember I was looking at myself in a mirror, like literally looking at myself in a mirror with like drool, and God knows what my face looked like. And I was like, this is really like, did you have enough? Did you put, did you put yourself through enough? And I just remember the next day I had to go to work. My department knew everything, obviously. And they gave me like an ultimatum. They're like, this is it. This is it. You're done. You either get your shit together or else.
So you were employed at at the police department when
Yes.
this happened. Wow.
Yes. Hmm.
Okay. Um, how did that turn out? So they basically gave you the ultimatum that snapped you up. Because one thing that fascinates me is this sort of concept of rock bottom, and you sort of alluded to it. Of
Yeah.
you're like having a conversation with yourself, like, all right,
Yes.
is this as bad as it's gonna get, or does it need to get worse before we start
Hmm.
turning this around?
Yeah. I
Okay, so they
mean,
gave you the ultimatum, and then what was the next thing?
yeah. I mean, not knowing it, but yeah, that ended up being my rock bottom. That was where I stopped. And yeah, I saw them. I remember I had to go to Newark Airport, get on a plane, and I just flew to Florida, not knowing where I was going to go yet. I was like, I'm going to find a place in Florida, and I ended
Yeah,
up
get some
finding.
sunshine, relax.
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to find a place in Florida, because I was on the way to go to the original place, but they're like, Danny, we're booked. We don't have a bed for you. And I was like, oh
Oh man.
shoot, yeah. But they helped me out. And I end up getting to a really cool, really, really good place. Footprints Beachside Recovery in Florida. And that's where, um, you know, July 12th, 2017 is my sober date. And, I it was just one day each day. I just started getting it. I just started realizing that, and that I still had that picture of me with my face in the mirror. It's a little blurrier now, which I'm
Right.
happy,
Right.
but I don't forget it. And I just remember that day. And amongst a lot of things, my kids crying and all the stuff started to become clear, where I started seeing my story, like, and I didn't like it anymore. And I didn't like
Right.
how that film was going, like the real was going of your life. And so I bought into it. I really did. I bought into the process. I bought into, the program, the 12 steps, everything. I mean, if they told me you had to go stand on your head in the middle of the highway, I know that's a typical thing that people say, stand on your head. I would have done it. I would have done it. Wouldn't be no
Yeah.
questions asked.
Yeah. Well, I think that's good. You're submitting to a process that has worked for countless people.
Hmm.
And I think this is a fascinating story. This is awesome. Congratulations for all that, going
I
through all that,
appreciate it.
coming out on the other side. What do you tell people, whether they're addicted to alcohol or prescription drugs or non-prescription drugs or whatever it is, or like you and I were talking, we can get addicted to behaviors, and once that
Sure.
behavior starts influencing the quality of our life, then at that point it becomes a problem. What do you tell people who are kind of struggling with this, um, as far as seeing the light, or getting to the other side, or progressing little by little?
Well, the funny thing is that there's really, um, I mean, there's really nothing in particular that you would say. It's it's whether or not they really want it. Case in point with myself, my parent, my family and everybody, they said a lot to me. They said a lot of things. Danny, why can you do it for your family? Can you do it for work? Can you do it for your kids? Didn't matter.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it really didn't matter what the words were. They were going right through. There was this little thing about, a centimeter, whatever, whatever the diameter of it, that had more power over me than my family, my friends, my work, everybody. So it
yeah,
really didn't matter what the words are you say to somebody. Um, what I like to do is I like to lead by example. And if somebody sits back and says, "Hey, I heard your story," or, you know, um, "What did you have to do?" Then I'm there for them, and I say, "Hey, look, this is the stuff that worked for me. If what I did doesn't work for you, we'll figure out a way of something, uh, that can, some way somehow. There's got to be something out there, that'll work for you. But it also comes down to, what you want. So there's got to be that desire. Um, you got to have the courage to admit your faults, your part. It's huge.
That's a great point that you make, though, that there's really no words that you can say to somebody who's not ready to change. But when they are ready to change, and when they're truly, truly ready, like they've hit every rock bottom you could imagine and they're ready, it almost doesn't even matter what you say to them because they're
Yeah.
ready. Like they'll figure it out on their own and they'll ask whoever they need to ask and get support from whoever they need to get support. And
Yeah.
it's interesting that uh, when you say, when you had people around you say, do it for your family, for your work, for your kids, those things are really important to you. Yet at the
Hmm.
same time, I could imagine there's like a disconnect. Like there's almost probably some part of your brain that's saying, of course I love my kids, but this isn't that big of a problem. Like, what's the big,
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
but I kind of get that where you're saying like, finally you started to see the story for what it was, and you weren't, sugarcoating it or looking at it through rose-colored glasses, and you realize, hey, yeah, I'm done, right? And you get to that point, it's a very powerful place to be.
100%. And I want to also, like you mentioned, I wanted to clarify something. I love my kids. I would do anything for my kids.
Yeah,
It's just that at that moment, I wasn't ready to uh, take care of myself. And what I found out was, which was really beautiful, was that, um, we talk about our kids, we spoil them and we give them everything they want. We always tell, we'll say things like, nothing will ever make you happy. But let me tell you that all your kids really want is for the mother and father to be happy. When
yeah,
they're happy, I mean, I have, I'm divorced now, but um, I always mention this about if you do the right thing, if you're honest with yourself. I have the best relationship with my ex.
that's great.
And it really just came down to me understanding that one, it's about the kids, it's
Yep,
not about us anymore.
yep,
And we both decided that the pains that we put each other through was not worth putting the kids through any more hell that we already did.
right.
And it was just all those things that came together that the kids are, both my son and my daughter are so happy
That's
for us.
great.
And it's good that because this stuff influences, I mean, I'm sorry, it inspires me to want to be a better person.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah, and kids, if depending on how bad the marriage was, if you're fighting and yelling at each other all the time, that's not good for the kids.
nope.
They can see that you guys are friends, you guys are cordial. Marriage comes with it a lot of expectations, and sometimes it just runs its course, and people are meant to be
Yeah,
friends, and like, hey, we're good, we're friends, we're good friends, and we can raise these two children together, and that's
true.
that's phenomenal. That's amazing. Very awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm on this road, man, that, you know, I got uh, some goals and I'm looking forward to getting to it. And it was interesting how we end up meeting, but, learning that, you're a health coach and everything, it inspired me to, uh, also just look into things like now I'm looking into the like a Mediterranean diet something because I have Crohn's disease.
Okay.
And I was looking at it the other day how that in like the paleo diet, there's a version of it for people that have IBS.
Right.
That was another thing that I was letting myself letting go. I've had Crohn's disease. So while I was drinking and doing drugs and eating like crap and all that, I wasn't taking care of myself in that area.
Yeah, I would try Google autoimmune paleo, AIP. Check out
That's
some
what
of
it
that.
was.
Yeah, that's some
Hmm.
good stuff. That might help you.
Yeah.
I also really like the Whole 30. Have you heard of the Whole 30?
No, I never heard of that.
Check that out.
Write that down.
It's really strict, and I like how they talk about the reason why it's so strict. It makes sense. But yeah, I mean, we all go through something, right? Some sort of health challenge at some point, and that sort of gets us interested in bettering ourselves and things like that. For me, it was a huge, just horrible back injury when I was 14, and
Mm,
I didn't take care of myself as far as stretching and rehab. And it was just go, go, go all the time, playing sports, diving on the floor for a loose basketball, stuff like that. And I just messed myself up. And
wow.
so that sort of directly led me to where I am right now, which is my specialty as a trainer is kind of preventative and rehabilitative
Yeah.
stretches and exercises for the back. So definitely your experience can lead you to some pretty amazing places where you're helping people and sharing your
Yeah.
experience through it. So can you talk about that, about the
Hmm.
podcast that you're creating? You have a
Yeah.
blog website, right? What is
Yeah.
that? Share that information so people can reach out to you and contact you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And everything is very fairly new. I'm going to be launching my website called Recovery Chatter. You can find it on recoverychatter.com. My information's there if you want to contact me. I'm going to be looking for guests. So anything that's going to, what we're going to be talking about is the addictive mind, and it's not just going to be about substance use. It's going to just be eh, just around the whole scope is going to be around the addictive mind, and the behaviors and our how our environment affects us, um, just the whole biosocial cycle portion of that. um, and then I am a recovery coach, so I do offer services for that. You could also get me on through the website. Right now it's just amazing that and I don't charge anybody. um so this is my way of giving back. Maybe one day I will, but I know myself I'm gonna end up putting it in something else that'll
Right,
benefit.
right.
Yeah, so um I was blessed with, you know, being alive right now. So to me, this is my way. If I can help people out, I will. Um, and I'm really looking forward to this. I'm in school right now to be a clinical licensed social worker, specifically as a licensed counselor for alcohol and drug counseling. um, and I'm just really excited to be heading down this path. We have to all work on so many different things in life, and one of my character defects, one of many that I still have, is patience. I want to do this all right now. I want to save the whole world right now.
Right. You're trying to boil the ocean.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. I've never heard that, but that's beautiful. I love that. But I just want to be a part of the solution,
Yeah, yeah.
and I was in the AA meeting today actually, and I was talking, and it was really good to hear because we were talking about patience, on how we want what we want. And I was explaining to them from, like, listen, I'm from Jersey, Frank Sinatra, my way, I mean, but you know what? It's a we you the rooms give you a reality check. The guys
Right,
start chiming in, and they're really good.
right, right,
Good group
right.
of guys.
That's awesome. Well,
Yep.
Danny, I really appreciate you coming on today. Anybody who is struggling with this, reach out to Danny and go to his website, listen to his podcast, and take those steps. You don't have to hit necessarily rock bottom, right? You can decide that what you've already been through is rock bottom and you're ready to go up. So Danny, thank you so much for joining me
Oh,
today. I
Chris,
really appreciate it.
pleasure.
If we can
Absolute
get you
pleasure.
back, get you back in the
100%.
future. Yeah.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Thanks for listening to the Health in the Real World show. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment down below. Visit mycorebalance.com to learn more.